it's Tania Gabrielle, Wealth Astro-Numerologist. Welcome back to Star Codes. This is the podcast where we look at an Astrology Numerology event, a star code that is coming up in order to help us navigate the energetics and take advantage of the vibrational impact of whatever is happening. And in this case, it is the Virgo new moon, but we're going to look at a specific aspect, and that is Mars square to the sun and moon. Now, if you want to see the Virgo new moon forecast, just go to my website, taniagabrielle.com. We are now going to focus on Mars square the sun and moon happening exactly during this Virgo new moon at 4 degrees, where Mars is at literally arriving at 4 degrees 00 minutes, and the sun and moon will be at 4 degrees and 3 minutes. So that in astrology is pretty much exactitude, and the fact that it happens literally at the moment the new moon is exact in Virgo really means a lot. So all three will be at 4 degrees. Mars will be in Gemini at 4 degrees, and of course sun and moon in Virgo at 4 degrees. So we're going to look at this because when Mars gets activated, we are being inspired to act. Mars is very visceral in terms of getting downloads and using your instinct, your heart to create forward momentum. And this square, this double square, is literally doubling up the natural energy of Mars to act, because squares in astrology are all about getting with it and acting on whatever is prompting you. Now, the moon square Mars is definitely about emotional focus and setting a direction that is fueled from the heart. So instead of feeling aggressive, so reacting to whatever you feel is attacking you in some ways, getting impatient, you want to use this emotional connection to your heart to be highly creative and channel your fiery energy into some ambitious project. You can make a lot of progress, and the 4 degrees is giving you the structure, the point by point navigation, the map of how to proceed, and also the boundaries of what not to let in order to get you distracted from what it is you want to achieve. So the 4 degrees is very important in this connection with Mars, because Mars sometimes can just go for it and not have necessarily a sense of the overall picture, the step-by-step view of what is going to be important and what to not pay attention to. Mars is literally very much about the passionate direction of energy. So this 4 degrees is exciting because it brings us patience. 4 is connected to grounding and allowing things to unfold naturally and not to get impulsive. So it provides a wonderful balance to this very, very fiery activating square. So with the moon and Mars in a square, you're very conscious of your goals. You have more emotional focus and a sense of direction. You just have to guard against emotional aggression, rashness, and instead use that fire to act very proactively. Never try to bottle up your emotions, in general, but during Mars's square, you may get emotional and you don't want to keep that bottled up. You do want to literally funnel it into something that is meaningful as opposed to letting it out aggressively. So find outlets to release any fiery emotions in a more refined and controlled way, because hey, if you use this in a creative way, you have amazing flair, amazing magnetism, and sensuality. Mars is very sensual and sexual and magnetic. So then we have the sun also square Mars. And remember that Mars is in Gemini and the sun and moon are in Virgo. Now, both of those signs are ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is focusing your attention on very practical ideas through the 4 degrees, but also Mercury wants to now develop ideas. Mercury is all about the mind and getting ideas and tends to be more practically oriented, but there's a side to Mercury that is very creative as well. And because your creativity is on a high with this Mars connection, you want to use that strong, passionate warrior energy to seek an outlet for something that allows that mind to experiment with the ideas that are coming through, which will be very rapid. Mars is a very fast moving energy. And again, guard against being impulsive, overheated passion, being argumentative, aggressive, reactive. Definitely, it's not a time to engage in any conflict where a heated discussion turns into an argument. You want to abstain from that as much as possible. So don't go on the offensive if you feel somehow attacked in some way. Just take the high road, seek a compromise, or retreat if you're being challenged, right? It's not about the ego. It's literally about staying in balance. So burn up that hot energy. And one wonderful way that Mars loves to burn energy is through physical movement, through exercise. So if you can get out and hike a mountain that you haven't hiked yet, that has, more difficulty, where you have to do some scrambling up rocks, or literally just, get out that sense of fire in you, that would be fantastic. Or focus on something you're very passionate about. Fire up your imagination. Like I said, Mars is very instinctual, very magnetic, very sensual. And so you want to be in touch with that inner heart-centered passion. When you're in a heart-centered space, you have access to those nuggets of wisdom that come from the higher dimensions. And so that wisdom will start to come in, and you'll want to call someone, or you'll want to be drawn to eating a different type of food, or you might get a exciting, unexpected idea that comes through for a current project or one that you might be working on in the future. But definitely you get an impulse. But that impulse can be very fleeting, especially with Mars. In general, Mars appears and then moves on. Mars doesn't hang around. So when you get that download, that inspiration, there's a sensation that you're going to feel, and it's going to be very clear in that moment only that this is what needs to be done. This is what I'm drawn to. And the challenge is that you may not take action at that moment. Remember that Mars is, though, teaching us that inspiration without action is wasted energy. So when that impulse comes, take action. Start paying more and more attention to that energy, and put your intention in that place where I'm going to act on what is coming through. It's just so important for your health as well. Virgo is the ruling sign of health. It's the 6th house in astrology. It's health and healing. It's so helpful to your well-being and to reconnect with yourself as a spark of the divine. Virgo rules the crystals in earth and the healing modalities that have to do with essential oils and anything that comes from our beautiful planet. So now, what is it to be in that heart center, to be in touch with that divine spark? It's not to be in your thoughts, not mulling over something, a problem or a health issue or a lack of this or a person who is, annoying you, and on and on and on, right? These are stories that we tell ourselves, and they keep going and going until we put a stop to them. And Mars is urging you to take action and let go of those stories right now, to come back to your perception that you are one with the divine. You are one with all that is. You are whole and you are complete. And you are one with the divine desire. Basically, you're on fire with that divine desire. So the essence of who you are with that internal fire is actually inextinguishable. It is immutable. It is pure. It is eternal. It cannot be destroyed. And it reminds you, this connection, that how you feel about any part of your life is always reflected in the programs that you are running. So you want to change whatever those stories are. You want to come back to that heart-centered space and bypass those programs, those stories, because they actually don't exist, right? Just like most of what's you see online is just, it's not real, right? It's just somebody's idea about something, somebody's opinion about something. So then you're in the flow, but then it's very natural to get out of it, right? To drop out of that flow and start buying into the stories again and telling them to yourself and regurgitating them and analyzing them and believing them and investing in them. And so by doing that, you then, of course, attract the external conditions that align with the stories you're telling yourself. So if you are wanting to attract more of the good things in life, to feel that inner abundance and have it reflected externally, inner health, have it reflected externally, love, have it reflected in your relationships, right? Just general overall well-being, keep coming back to your heart. And in doing so, you forgive easily, you are more compassionate, you resonate with others in that you listen more to them. And of course, that means listening to your heart, yourself. So there's a lot there that allows you to show up in a way that sparks the divine in yourself, where your life is a reflection of that greater spark of the divine. And Mars is a spark planet. It is always sparking that fire in you. So the more you connect with your heart center, the more you're going to have ideas about the things that you can do, that you enjoy, to be of service. But of course, you have to have balance. You have to take care of yourself. There are a lot of takers out there, and takers don't give back a lot. So allow those healthy boundaries to help you keep that space where you can connect with your heart. And really, the best way that I know personally to instantly connect to your heart is to focus on something that makes you smile. And the other is to be creatively engaged, where you lose all sense of time because you are so involved with whatever it is you're creating. It could be anything, right? So either way, through smiling or the creative process, it puts you in the moment. And that creative process can be literally you nourishing others as well. It could really be anything that puts a smile on your face. And you're in the here and now. Nothing else matters except that moment that you are experiencing. And there's no programming running at this point. There's no stories in your head. Literally, it's just you and the spark of the divine. Everything else can take care of itself when you're in that space. You know that. You just trust it. So, big Mars moment, big Virgo, sun and moon moment. Like I said, Virgo is about healing, so it's really a very special moment here that we have. This new moon actually takes place on the 27th of August, and you can watch all about it in my new moon forecast, as I said. Now, while Mars's natural passion and action is ignited during this Virgo new moon, it's a great time to see how Mars and also Venus are currently transforming how we create joyful outcomes in any situation. So you can discover in a free masterclass at venusmarscode.com right now how these two planets are helping us really acclimate to the divine feminine and sacred masculine. And so what you'll discover in this free masterclass is the magical transformation from aggressiveness to assertiveness that is being healed in our heart by the sacred masculine represented by Mars. And of course, the divine feminine through the 13 phases of Venus, 13 being the divine feminine number, how that's being resurrected, how we're moving away from being afraid of the divine feminine, of the number 13. And also you'll discover the secret sounds of V and M, what they actually mean for Venus and Mars, how they miraculously balance the divine feminine and sacred masculine, and stunning revelations about the Mayan calendar and how it lines up to the Aquarian age and the birth of the fusion of the divine feminine and sacred masculine. So all of that and so much more can be discovered in the free masterclass at venusmarscode.com. So have a wonderful time watching that masterclass, taking in all the wisdom of these two wonderful planets. And I wish you a beautiful week, a wonderful Virgo new moon, and activation of Mars in your life. So have a good week, and I'll see you in next week's Star Codes podcast.